I don't believe anybody is very life-skilled. I was raised in a delusional Christian community. I didn't hear the gospel there. I was told as a little boy, if Jesus came back and I went to a movie theater, he wouldn't go in the movie theater to get me. I would just go to hell forever. As a 7 or 8-year-old boy, I desperately wanted to see Walt Disney's The Shaggy Dog, but I didn't think it was worth risking my eternal destiny on such an event. The neighbor lady came down and asked if my brothers could go with her boys to see the Shaggy Dog, and my mother said yes, and I wondered if she really loved us. I was told if I lived a holy and righteous life, but had one bad thought the last second of my life, that I would go to hell forever. What I deduced from that is if I could lose the love of God based on what I did, then I was having to earn the love of God based on what I did. And there was nothing substantive of the love of God in that understanding. No one's very life-skilled. None of us has it together. If you waited till you were ready to be a grad student, you would never come here. If you waited till you were ready to marry, you would never marry. If all people put off having children till they were ready to raise children, the whole human race would end this generation. All of us are awkward. A 2-year-old learning how to amble well and start to run is going to fall down and get bruised. A 6-year-old taking the training wheels off of his or her two-wheeler will fall down and get bruised and abrased. An adolescent picking up a skateboard for the first time, trying to ollie or take on the half pipe, is going to sprain an ankle or break a wrist. Matter of fact, I would suggest to you, if you're not awkward someplace in your life, you're just not growing. Every new challenge will produce in you a kind of awkwardness. And some of those awkward situations you'll respond to with good intention and make a miserable failure of it. You'll hurt yourself and hurt your others around you, even though your intentions were good. And sometimes there will be an arrogance that will kick in, and intentionally you will do bad things in those situations, sinful things. None of us has it together. So what about now? What is our standing with God now? And the text cries out to us that we not miss it. Beloved, now we are children of God. It's remarkable. It's the most life-fulfilling feature of Christian experience that we are loved by God, goofy as we are. Let me see if I can explain it. When my children were little, my wife and I came up with a standard for discipline. We would never discipline a child without at least explaining what the rules were ahead of time. If they crossed the line, then we would discipline them. We had certain kinds of disciplines based on the infraction. There were timeouts, and there were some times when we would spank them. I didn't like them playing in the street when they didn't understand about cars. I would tell them, if you go in the street, I'll spank you. I didn't want to spank them, but I willed the spanking over them being hit by a car, and one of my kids was hit by a car when he was a child. And it was horrible. So you're trying to build these parameters. What happened, though, is we would say to the kids, if they crossed the line, particularly an egregious line, I would say to them, what did you do? Bring it to their conscious mind. They would say. I'd say, what did I tell you not to do? They said, you told me not to play in the street, Daddy. And what did I say I would do if you did? You said you'd spank me, Daddy. And then I would always ask them, do you think I love you any less because you played in the street? No, Daddy, you don't love me any less. Is there anything you could ever do that would make me stop loving you? No, Dad, there's nothing I could ever do that would make you stop loving me. But am I happy you played in the street? No, Dad, you're not happy I played in the street. And then I'd administer my loving kindness to their hindquarters. I didn't always do it well. If you waited till you were, you would never enter into discipline of children. But you have to constantly be evaluating under the love of God so that you could get better at these things. And none of us are very life-skilled. But nevertheless, when I was done disciplining my children, I would always take them in my arms and hug them, and I would hug them till they were happy. I never dismissed them, because I wanted them to know I only rejected the bad act. I didn't reject them as a person. And my kids, always after discipline, would turn around like this for the hug. And I want them to learn to do that with God too, you see. Well, it was no problem with the boys. I have 3 sons, no problem. I'd take them in my arms, hug them. But I have a daughter, Alicia. She'd turn around like this for the hug. And I was put in an incredibly difficult set of circumstances because her face would have leaked horribly. Her eyes would have leaked. Her nose would have leaked. Her mouth would have drooled, and there it was. And I was tempted to say to her, you know, Alicia, I really want to give you a hug right now, but I think you probably better go shower, clean up, and then come back for the hug. But she couldn't do that. I would take her in my arms, and I would hug her, and she would put her face on my shoulder and wipe the physical manifestation of her having been there. And what dawned on me in those days is every father who loves his child will bear the stain because he loves the child.